welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
We're diving into something everyone can relate to, I think, the academic job hunt.
It's pretty fascinating because we're really getting into the nitty-gritty with this one, This isn't just like generic advice and tips for job hunting.
Right.
We're going through a very specific person's like multi-year experience.
Exactly. And this is not your average job hunt story. We're talking hundreds of applications, tons of doubt, and yeah, even some international travel mixed in.
Yeah. It really shows you what it takes emotionally to pursue an academic career, the resilience, the learning, and the importance of having people to support you.
Okay, so the story starts with, well, actually a reunion. Wenwu and his partner Jinlu, they both just got their green cards, and they're finally together again in Silicon Valley after, years of long distance. So they're ready to take on the world, right?
And their optimism, oh man, you could really feel it. They thought the job offer was just going to magically appear, so they even switched to month-to-month rent. They were so sure they'd be moving to a new place soon. Talk about confidence.
I love that detail. It really shows you where their heads were at. All in, ready for the next chapter. But, well, as we know, job hunts don't always go as planned.
Yeah, especially in academia, it can be rough.
Yeah.
So Wenwu starts applying like crazy for research positions at universities and institutes across California, and then eventually he had to expand the search nationwide.
Oh, wow.
He was really focused on very specific roles that fit with his expertise in MEMS, that's microelectromechanical systems.
Gotcha.
Very specialized field, super competitive.
But even with all that effort, the first few months were, well, mostly silence.
Yeah.
He had a few phone interviews, but nothing really came of them. It's when the reality of that job market really starts to sink in.
And that's where it gets tough emotionally. Wenwu talks about this growing pressure and self-doubt as the rejections pile up. You know that feeling, am I good enough?
Yeah.
It's so demoralizing.
We've all been there, anxiously checking your inbox, hoping for good news. But then it's just another thanks but no thanks email. Just wears you down.
It really does. In Wenwu's story, it just captures that feeling perfectly. But even with all the stress and uncertainty, him and Jinlu, they find this amazing way to cope.
Okay.
They turn to the natural beauty of Silicon Valley.
Yeah, they start going on these weekend hikes, exploring the trails, getting away from everything. Sounds like a perfect escape.
It was, but it became so much more than that.
Really?
Yeah. These hikes, they weren't just about getting some fresh air.
Okay.
They were about really connecting with nature, with each other. They used that time to de-stress, talk openly, and, just enjoy being together.
I love that. Even when things are tough, there are still those moments of peace and connection, sometimes in the most unexpected places.
And those strong relationships are so important, especially when things are rough. Having Jinlu's support, it definitely helped Wenwu through all the ups and downs.
Makes you realize you don't have to go through it alone.
Yeah.
Having a supportive partner or close friend or even just a strong network, it can make a huge difference.
It really does. But even with all that support, the pressure kept building. By mid-2016, still no job, and the financial worries, they start to creep in. Jinlu was trying to stay positive, but it was hard. Wenwu's confidence was really taking a hit.
So a year into this job hunt, things aren't looking good. So much effort, so many applications, still no offer. Must have been so disheartening.
It was a real turning point for sure.
Yeah.
He even started applying for temp positions just to ease the anxiety and get some practical experience.
Okay.
But, sometimes things happen when you least expect it, like fate intervenes.
Yeah, so in July 2016, Wenwu, he kind of just threw in an application for an assistant professor position at San Diego State University. He saw the posting and was like, why not? It seemed like a decent fit, but at this point, he wasn't really getting his hopes up.
So this totally random application, sent out without much thought, ends up being the one.
That's crazy.
I know, right? It really shows you just never know which opportunity is going to change everything. Sometimes it's the one you least expect.
So what happens next? How does this go from long shot to the one?
Well, the first thing was a phone interview. And get this, it was in December while Wenwu was on vacation in Cancun.
Oh.
Imagine trying to nail a job interview while you're in paradise.
Seriously. Sipping margaritas 1 minute, talking complex research the next.
Right. But Wenwu was focused. He used all his experience from past interviews, ignored the distractions, and he managed to impress those professors. And remember, these were MEMS experts, so they weren't messing around.
So going from vacation mode to intense interview mode, what was that like?
Wenwu said it was pretty surreal, like stepping out of one world into another, but he was also incredibly grateful for the chance. He knew this could be his big break.
Okay, so he conquers the Cancun interview. What's next?
Well, after the holidays, the good news came, an invitation for an on-campus interview at San Diego State. So for the next month, Wenwu went into full prep mode, refining his presentation, brushing up on his research, and trying to anticipate questions. He knew this was the real deal.
That must have felt like forever and no time at all at the same time.
Yeah.
The anticipation.
I can only imagine. And then finally, on January 30th, 2017, he's at San Diego State for a full day of interviews.
Oh, wow.
8 hours straight, meeting with professors, staff, even students.
Intense. Both exciting and exhausting, I bet.
Totally. And one of the big things was this hour-long presentation he had to give to a panel of faculty. Luckily, all that prep work paid off, and the presentation went well.
Okay, so he's nailed the phone interview, rocked the presentation, and met everyone. What happens next in this saga?
Well, more waiting, of course. It wouldn't be a true job hunt story without that.
Right.
But then on Valentine's Day Eve, the email comes through from the Dean of Engineering. And guess what?
What?
Wenwu is one of the top 3 candidates.
That's amazing. What a Valentine's Day surprise. From feeling totally discouraged to this huge moment of validation.
It just goes to show you can't give up, even when it feels impossible. Wenwu had faced so many setbacks, so much doubt, but he kept going, and it was finally paying off.
He's in the top 3. Does he get the offer?
Hold on, we're getting there. The dean asked for some extra info, like details about research equipment and budget needs, which Wenwu sent right away.
Yeah.
And then, on March 1st, the big moment arrived. The official offer landed in his inbox.
Yes, finally. After all that, he made it.
What a feeling that must have been. His persistence, his ability to adapt, his belief in himself, it all paid off. He looked over the offer, and on March 6th, he accepted the position, marking the end of this incredible job hunt.
What a journey. From those early days in Silicon Valley, through all the ups and downs, to finally landing his dream job. It's inspiring, but also so relatable. I mean, who hasn't felt rejected or doubted themselves during a job search?
Exactly. And what I love about Wenwu's story is that it shows us it's possible to come out the other side even stronger. And there are some great lessons in there for everyone, no matter what career you're in.
So let's talk about those lessons. What can our listeners take away from Wenwu's experience? What can we all learn?
Well, first of all, Wenwu's story is a lesson in resilience. The job hunt, especially in academia, can be brutal, full of rejections, setbacks, and doubts that really push you to your limit.
It's true. And he found ways to cope, to keep going, even when it felt impossible. Like those hikes with Jinlu, those weren't just a distraction.
Yeah.
They were a way to stay strong, stay connected.
Exactly. We need healthy ways to deal with stress, to recharge, to nurture the relationships that give us support. Sometimes it's as simple as nature, loved ones, or even just a hobby.
It's also interesting how much emphasis he puts on learning, both in his field and in those soft skills, like resumes and interviewing.
Yeah, that's crucial. He wasn't just relying on what he already knew. He was always looking for new information, refining his approach, and adapting to the job market. It's like lifelong learning, essential for anyone who wants to succeed these days, in any field.
And we can't forget just how many applications he sent out. Over 280. That says something about his dedication and about how competitive those academic positions are.
It's crazy, right? But what's even more impressive is how personalized each application was. He wasn't just sending out the same generic stuff to everyone.
Yeah.
He was tailoring each one to the specific job, highlighting his relevant skills and experience.
It shows that quality matters more than quantity. Better to have a few really good applications than a ton of generic ones.
Exactly. Wenwu's story also shows how important a support network is. Jinlu's belief in him, her willingness to be there for him, it definitely played a huge role in his success.
It really highlights the importance of having people who believe in you, challenge you, and are there to help when you fall. A partner, family member, mentor, friend. Those relationships can make all the difference.
Yeah, and it's not just about emotional support. It's also about practical advice, connections, insights that can help you navigate the whole job search. Wenwu's network gave him feedback, helped him prep for interviews, even opened doors to new opportunities.
So we've talked about resilience, learning, a strong network. What else can we learn from this? What other wisdom did he share? Well, one thing that stands out is his ability to adapt, to change his approach based on the feedback he was getting and what was happening in the job market. Remember, he even started applying for those temp positions to gain more experience.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't afraid to shift gears when he needed to.
That's so important. The world's changing so fast, we need to be able to learn new skills, embrace new technologies, get out of our comfort zones.
Wenwu's story also shows us that luck can be a factor in our careers.
True.
But he didn't just sit around waiting for luck to strike. He created his own luck by working hard, preparing, being ready to jump when the opportunity came.
It's like they say, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Wenwu was always honing his skills, going to conferences, networking, putting himself out there. So when that San Diego State application popped up, he was prepared.
It's so crucial, right? He wasn't just hoping for the best. He was making himself ready. And that's something we can all do, whatever our goals are.
Absolutely. We can't control everything, but we can control our effort, our attitude, our willingness to learn. And those things make a difference.
Wenwu also spent time reflecting on his experiences, figuring out what to improve, and changing his approach. He wasn't afraid to ask for feedback or learn from his mistakes.
That willingness to look at yourself honestly is so important for growth. It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day, but it's good to step back, look at the bigger picture, and ask yourself, what's working, what's not, what can I do differently?
And I think this whole job search, even though it was challenging, was also a journey of self-discovery for him. A time to think about his values, his goals, and find a path that really fit his passions.
It's a chance to think about what truly matters, what impact we want to have, what kind of work really fulfills us. Sometimes we only learn those things by going through tough times.
So we've covered a lot: resilience, adaptability, learning, a supportive network, self-reflection. What's the one big takeaway for our listeners?
I think it's this. Even when things are tough, when it feels impossible, we can still shape our own destinies. Wenwu's story is an example of resilience, perseverance, and the fact that with hard work, determination, and yes, a little luck, we can achieve our goals.
So before we wrap up, I have a question for everyone listening. After hearing Wenwu's story, how do you see luck versus hard work now?
That's a good question. Wenwu definitely had challenges, but he also made his own luck through his actions, preparation, and flexibility.
So what can you do today to prepare for your own career challenges? Update your resume, reach out to someone in your network, take a course, or just think about your goals. Even small steps can make a big difference.
Exactly. And don't be afraid of the journey, even with all its twists and turns. Those are the things that teach us the most and help us get where we need to be.
Wenwu's story reminds us that the path to success is rarely a straight line. There are detours, roadblocks, surprises along the way. But with the right mindset, a willingness to learn, and good people supporting you, you can navigate those challenges and reach your dreams.
So keep learning, keep growing, keep connecting, and believing yourself. Your next big break might be closer than you think.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving